Gonna win, long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. We're live. I've got the lovely Tracy Irwin with me all the way from Spain, but that's not a Spanish accent, is it, Tracy?
Oh, it certainly isn't Spanish. It's a lovely northern drawl.
It's a lovely northern drawl. And I don't know if you saw my post today, but I was talking about regional accents. And so absolutely adore yours. So it's lovely to have you on. Tracy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I now live in Spain, as you've just said, and I run a UK accountancy, or we're primarily in Bookkeepers, and we're in Barrow-in-Furness in the north of England, and I have an amazing team in the office that do the day-to-day.
Fantastic. So how warm is it in Spain at the moment? Because we're hearing all these horror stories of how hot it is abroad.
Because I'm on the coast, it's not too bad. It's about 33, 34 every day. But my office is nice and air conditioned, so it's not too bad.
Fantastic. It sounds idyllic. So I don't know if you keep up with the weather in the UK, because that's all we talk about. But it absolutely lashed it down for the wedding at the weekend. But it didn't matter. It didn't spoil us. And now it's nice again. And so.
Yeah, hey. It's who you're with that matters.
Absolutely. So why did you move to Spain?
It was just, as a Sagittarian, I was a born traveller, and I was a very young mother. So I had my daughter when I was like 19. And I remember you saying to people, you know, oh, if I didn't have Elaine, I wouldn't still be here. But I think people didn't actually believe me. But deep down, I knew that, you know, I mean, she was the best thing that ever happened. But there was always that bit of traveller in me. And when the opportunity arose, I kind of just took it by the horns and found myself here for 7 years. So
you're a bit of a rebel then?
Does the pink hair show that?
Well, I didn't like to say, but no, it's absolute classic. Did I not see a post the other day and it was a different colour?
It's always a different colour.
Oh, right, okay.
Pink Barbie. So
right, okay. Have you seen that movie yet?
I did, and I cried, but let's not go there.
Right, okay. Should my wife and I go?
Yes, definitely. Okay. It's an uncomfortable watch for you, though.
Right, okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. I've lived with 3 women, so I can do uncomfortable. It's really not a problem. Yeah. So you moved to Spain after you'd set the business up, or you set the business up while you were in Spain?
Yeah, the business is 22 years old nearly. So I started in my biggest bedroom as a single parent of an 8-year-old. I'm now a grandparent with 2 grandchildren, and
you don't look old enough.
Yeah, it was a lifestyle thing, and it's grown from there. And the business has been bigger than it is now, and we consolidated. And it was at the time when I was unhappy in my life, really. So it kind of just it was bigger, and I realised that as you grow, the cracks grow with you. And we consolidated and made a really profitable and great business. And I think that's kind of where the book came from.
The book?
The book.
What book are we talking about, Tracy?
This one.
Oh, come on, give it here. Give it here. I want it.
What's wrong with?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So you've written a book. Look at this. How does it feel? How does it feel?
You know how it feels. It's a great feeling.
Isn't it? It's a real thing.
It is.
It's your book.
And I know it's good because strangers on Amazon have told me so. So I believe it now.
It's already a bestseller, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Ah, congratulations. So what was it that made you write a book then, Tracy?
Well, we're living in Spain. Quite a lot of people say to me, when you tell them what you do, they're like, oh, aren't you lucky to be able to like run a UK business and live in Spain? And I think, oh, well, yeah, but I worked really hard to be this lucky.
And this is the thing. Sorry to interrupt you, but you've just said you've been running your business for 22 years. We don't see that. We didn't see you, 22 years ago when you had an 8-year-old and you were in the back bedroom.
Yeah.
We didn't see you not being able to get to sleep. We didn't see you missing Elaine's sports day. We didn't see you screaming at Elaine because she wanted a bowl of cornflakes and you had a tax return to get out. We don't see that. And that's the thing.
It is. I think a lot of people don't see that. They see the person that's the successful person and think that just happened overnight, but it doesn't. You need systems and processes and a lot of hard work to actually get to that position. And I think I wanted to just share my journey. It's a heartfelt book. It has got my personal story in it, but it's a practical book as well. And it's got blueprints to help other people who are in the service industry to be able to find their happy and to be able to grow their business so that they have a bit more time freedom. Because I really wish I had the time freedom when Elaine was 8 than what I do now. So
yeah, but which is why, and I've seen your posts on LinkedIn, spending time with your grandchildren, and that's what is important. But we don't see that as important when we're 22 years ago trying to build a business and trying to, do everything else that you have to do when you've got dependents, family.
It was, at that time it was literally just keeping a roof over mine and my daughter's head. That was the main objective. And it kind of grew from there.
Yeah, we've got a question from Sheila. So hi, Sheila, very kind of you to come in today. And will you write a book about moving abroad while keeping your UK business going? Is that in the book, or is that book 2?
No, that's kind of, well, some of it's in there. I suppose it isn't really. It's more about the business itself. It isn't about my personal journey to Spain. I don't know if I've got another book in me. If I'm totally honest. I'm really proud of what I've achieved. I'm just not quite sure I want to go through that process again. I admire anybody who is an author nowadays because I know how hard a process it is.
It is incredibly hard. So you're in the group with John Lamerton, and John Lamerton actually came to my book launch and gave a speech at the book launch, and he was saying that less than 1% of people actually write a book. 87% of people want to write a book, but it's all of those stages. And even when you've written it, it's still not a book until it's been published and been edited and goodness knows what else. But it's a mighty fine looking book. And I want to know the pivotal moment in your personal life that led you to make changes in your business approach.
Okay. So I was that person that was always first in the office and last out the office. I led by example.
Yeah.
And at the time, my granddad had cancer and he died. And when he was 92, he lived an amazing life. And I'd found myself working late, going to the hospital, seeing my granddad, and then going home very late in the evening. And at the point where he died, I was like, oh, okay, I've got to go home. And I realized I wasn't happy at home. And that's been the accumulation of why I was working so hard in the business. I'd put everything into the business because I wasn't particularly happy at home. I solved that. It's all personal, and I solved that issue. And then what I started to do was take a step back. I started slow movements of the systems and the processes. I processed absolutely everything that was in the business. And I started working from home, so my team didn't rely on me so much, so that there was a barrier there to be able to ask questions because everything just came back to me. And they were an amazing team, and actually giving them responsibility made them all go up a level. And like some of them are directors of the business now. We're an employee-owned business, and people just showed their true colours when you left them to actually give responsibility and let them actually work.
Yeah, I speak to, as you know, I coach accountants, and those that work from home get more done on a day that they work from home. They get less interruptions on a day that they work from home because they're not available. And we all have an open door policy. So if you've got any questions, just pop in.
we don't mean it. because what you're doing is you're training your staff to ask questions, but the days that you're not there, and and if you take a few days off, you don't come back and the building's burnt down and everyone's gone. It's still there. They've just had to manage without you.
I took an entire month off to write the book, and nothing happened in the office. They were worked out fine.
Absolutely. So, really sorry to hear about your grandfather. But how long ago was that, Tracy?
So that was 7 years. That was 2016.
That was 2016. So that's when you turned around and said, right, that's it. You've got rid of the home that you weren't happy with and made your home in Spain.
Yeah, I'd moved within 12 months. So,
that's incredible.
But it was with the help of the team. I didn't do it on my own. Like literally giving that responsibility. When we set up the processes, like a lot of people have listened or read the E-Myth, and I tried so hard to do that myself over the 15 years of that to that point, and they never quite worked. And then I got the team to write their own processes. And I just checked them and worked them and found, and like we literally built the process machine together. So now when I'm coaching businesses, I tell them the easiest way to write a procedure manual is when you're doing everything yourself, and then you just kind of hand it over. It really is true that, to build a business as though you think you're big already. And I wished I'd done that. I really do. It would have been a much easier way to do it.
So how do you say to somebody like me, because it's only me, I've got no plans of taking on other members of a team or growing the team or anything like that. I'm just me in my shed. So what would you say to somebody like me? Because I guess when you started, that's how you felt, wasn't it?
Yeah, slightly. But for you, you never know when you get that busy that, you might need an admin person, or you might want to offload some of your marketing things. Now, if you've written down the way that you do it and the way that you want it to be done, then actually when you actually offload it to somebody else, then they feel you in that process and they will continue to do it the way that you want them to. If you just give them a job and just hand it over, they will do it how they want to do it. And it's not always, because culture is a massive part of growing a business. And if you don't ask people to do it the way you'd like it to be done, they don't know any other way than to make it up themselves.
No, great answer. James Webb has got a question for you. So many people want to do these things, i.e. move a book, write a book. Where does your determination come from to turn ideas into reality?
Oh, that's Tracy? A really good question.
Isn't it?
Focus and vision boards. So setting goals. So literally when I set my goals, and in the book, there's like, I've actually shared one of my vision boards for the year after COVID. So some of it didn't happen. But like, so for instance, like this year, my goal was to become a better mentor for my team and my clients. And I had dates and everything of when I wanted to do things. I've ended up doing a degree. It's much of I kind of like fell into that, and I'm really, really enjoying it. But it's kind of, if I had never written that goal down and actually put it into the diary to research it, it would never have happened. Nothing happens if it's not in my diary at all, because something else will always get in the way. I diary everything. So literally, I think that's the biggest tip, is to put things in the diary and do vision boards, goals, targets. Make sure it's on paper, because anything in my head doesn't tend to happen. It just happens when it gets into words.
So the bottom line, James, is write it down and tell other people as well, because then you've got accountability.
Yeah, accountability is massive. When people know, so like, when we were doing the process manual, if I'm sat in a room trying to do it on my own, I've got no accountability. If we're doing it as a team, everyone's got accountability, because nobody wants to be the person that's not doing what they're meant to be doing.
No, I love that. We've got some really good questions coming in here today. Nicholas, what a great question. When do you know the time is right to employ an admin help? And I guess that could be virtually or actually have somebody coming into your office 24/7.
It is. For me, it's as soon as you can, because the admin tasks that are low value tasks that you do day in, day out, you could be filling your time with marketing, sales. So for me, the first thing that to let go of is the admin. The second thing is the actual operations of the company. So literally the things that, you know, you started your business because that's what you're good at. And then after that, then it's things like your marketing and your sales and things like that, because nobody cares about your business as much as what you do. So like you kind of like, you know, that even a brilliant salesperson isn't going to sell your business the same way that you do. So it's kind of like the admin, it's literally just, you've got to understand that when you take on an admin person, they're an expense. So actually what you've got to know is in that time that they're giving you back, you need to fill that with time that's building your business, or it's just going to be an empty experience for you.
Yeah, I guess if you're charging yourself out at £50 to £100 an hour and you pay an admin person at £10 an hour, then, you know, for every hour that you make free, if we do the £50 an hour, you're making £40 profit.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just getting your head around that. And I guess where Nicholas's question comes from is, at the moment, I'm spending an hour a day on boring admin tasks. Is that worth me getting an admin person? And so what would be your answer to that question?
It would depend on cash flow, if I'm totally honest. It's going to be different for every business. I would say if you're spending a third of your time on admin though, and you're busy, then now, and you might feel like you haven't got enough time, enough work to give them, but you will, because as soon as you get that person, you're filling your time with more better things that you can actually be bringing the work in, and that just generates more admin. So it's kind of a vicious circle. But yeah, I would say a quarter, a third. If you're doing at least that, is if you're full week, then now's the time.
Excellent. I hope that answers your question, Nicholas. But yeah, great question. What inspired you to write the book then?
I think it was the whole questions, like when people asking me when they were telling me that I was lucky to live in Spain. And the book thing, like I just said before, I'm not quite sure if there's another book in me. It took 6 years to get to print.
Wow.
I procrastinated about this for so long. I got massive imposter syndrome after I'd written it. So I took a month off. It took me a month to write. And then I tried to edit it. And every time I edit it, I did get imposter syndrome. I was like, why would anybody want to listen to my story? And it sat on my laptop for 2 years before it actually got to a book publisher. And I regret that. I wished I'd done it sooner. But we all face these hurdles, and that was one of them. And I was inspired for so long. I knew it was important to help. I want to help people to be able to find their happy in the same way that I did. Because everyone's happy isn't coming to Spain. Obviously, everyone's happy is different. But once you know that, then the rest of the book, actually the blueprints actually help you to get that and get your time freedom to do whatever you want to be doing.
Yeah, no, and I think we see so many people chasing fast cars, better partners, bigger houses, posher holidays. That's not what makes us happy. You may be happy for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or what have you, but that new flash car is only new for a week.
Yeah.
And so, how did you find your happy?
I don't know. I think that's the hardest one to answer, because it kind of was like an opportunity that just felt right. And it was kind of a gut feeling of, I mean, the business structure and everything was structured and put in place. The move to Spain itself was quite spontaneous. I'd even considered moving to Manchester to be closer to my daughter in the time. It was a case of, I mean, sometimes I tell people jokingly, I just ran away from a messy divorce. But, it kind of like, it wasn't. It was running to my happy. I just had to find out what that happy was. And I'm definitely there now. So
Fantastic.
I find myself, yeah.
And was Spain your first choice, or was
Yes,
it just?
it was. It was kind of the coast of Spain is like where I wanted to be.
Fantastic. Do you speak Spanish now?
I can speak a little Spanish. I can read it okay. My problem is I deal with English clients over Zoom every single day, and I don't mix very well. You know, I don't get to have to speak Spanish very often, and my partner's Dutch, so it's all so it's all a bit like yeah. I try, and I can make conversational Spanish, but it's hard in your 40s to learn a new language.
Bless you. Bless you. You talk about in your book about it being a numbers first approach. What does that mean to people that aren't accountants or bookkeepers? You know, so mortals like me.
I see so many businesses just setting up business, working on their marketing and pushing forward, saying yes to every opportunity that comes along, and they grow to a certain extent, yet they still don't understand what that means to their bottom line. So literally by a numbers first approach, what I mean is understanding like your profit and loss on a monthly basis. So it's important to know that when you do a marketing project, actually what that's doing, whether that's the marketing that's making the business grow. If you've got two streams of income, so for instance, if some cafes can do like outside catering, for instance, making sure that they're actually like split on their sales and on their cost of sales, because some people just lump everything together. They look at their bottom line and think, well, I've got money in the bank, it's fine. But one area could be actually keeping the other one topped up. And it's about understanding that what you need to split on your accounts, what the numbers actually mean, so that actually you can make better decisions when you know what your numbers are. And that's the numbers first. Well, look at your numbers first and then grow your business.
Yeah, we don't know, do we? We look at, you know, how am I going to get another client in and stuff like that. Oh, let's try this because this will work. Let's do an exhibition. Let's go and
that's exactly it.
No, absolutely. So you mentioned goals.
Yep.
You're very driven. You're very focused. You know what you want. You know where you want to be. What about the rest of us that really don't know how to goal set? Do you have any tips on any of that for us, please?
I think it's what I said before. It's kind of getting it on paper. Like vision boards are brilliant. Like to put pictures to things. Like think about it, and don't just think about I just said about a numbers first approach, but don't just think about numbers, think about lifestyle, and then you can think about how that fits into what you want. It's not what you want your net profit to be at the end of the year. It's what you want your life to look like by the end of the year. And I think when people look at it from a much broader prospect, then it makes more sense to, well, this is why I'm doing it, because that's my goal. Like literally, I would never have done a goal for 2023 to be doing a coaching and mentoring degree. That's not what I would do. But actually, no, my end goal is to be a better mentor to my team and to my clients. So that fits in. Whereas it's not just, you know, what you want your turnover or your net profit to be.
Okay, so I want to dig in on these vision boards because Shirley Williams, wasn't she like the MEP for, or wherever it was? Wasn't she didn't Shirley Williams start the SDP or something?
No, not that one.
Not this one. She's saying doing great to Tracy. Love the vision boards to find your goals. So, what about people that don't even know what a vision board is then, and where do we start with a vision board?
Okay, so most people look at where they want to drive themselves to in the January of the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
you can do this whenever you want to. You literally just think about what you want your life to look like. So for instance, if a big car is what you want, then actually getting a picture of that big car and putting it onto an actual board so you can see it. Quite a lot of people have vision boards. They put them as their screensavers on their laptops. I don't, by the way. I either have a grandchild or a dog. But it's like, some people do have the vision boards and like literally pictures to help them to keep that focus, to know what they want to do. There's part of the book that is a part where I did, because when I lived in England, I did drive big cars, but I was driving all over the country to see clients then. And when I wanted this new car, we broke it down into new clients, because I didn't want to put my prices up just because I wanted a new car. So we literally made it as in, well, the net profit that's coming from each new client, every time we got one, we used to joke saying, oh, here's my steering wheels come through, or my wing mirror. And I actually broke it down into like really small chunks. And then that helped me to get to that goal I got to it within 5 months, but it was meant to be by the end of the year.
Okay, that's a really, really good way of doing it, because then it makes you can see you're getting closer.
Yeah.
I suppose you could actually get your picture of your car and chop it up into little chunks and actually stick it up like a jigsaw, couldn't you?
That would have been fun, yeah.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. You talked about networking in the preamble, and we both agree that can be quite intimidating. But that's a great way to get new business, to grow your business, to find out what's going on in the world. What tips have you got for networking?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I remember networking when I first started the business, and I was so nervous, like really nervous. I remember standing up I went to BNI and I stood up and did my 60 seconds in 30 seconds flat. I did not have any breath whatsoever. But I found myself a strategy, and what I do, and I still do this to this day, by the way, because I still, after 22 years, still get nervous walking into networking events, because I feel like nobody's going to talk to me. So what I do is I find that person that is at the side of the wall who used to be me, that's not talking to anybody, and I just beeline for them and introduce myself and literally talk to those people who are in the same boat, because there's lots of us. There's lots of us who are really confident when we're talking about work or to clients, but actually when you start talking about yourself and having to put yourself out there, you just become a different person. So I literally thought, and that's what I do now. I did it this year. Like, I went to a networking event and there was a guy there, and he was on his own. He wasn't talking to anybody. I thought, I'm just going to go in and like introduce myself. And like 4 months later, I got an email saying, can we have a chat about bookkeeping, please? I didn't sell to him, didn't do anything, but people remember how you make them feel. So, it's like, yeah, so that's what I do. And that's the biggest tip I can give everybody. Go and find that person in the corner that's absolutely petrified and talk to them, because they're feeling exactly the same way you are.
Yeah, it's just pushing yourself outside of that comfort zone, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. I'm a lot more confident now going into a networking meeting than I used to be. But I actually put a post up on LinkedIn saying that, I'm a bit, are you nervous about going to networking meetings on the day of a networking meeting? And someone put a comment on there. I'm going, I'll come and find you. And she came over, and it was absolutely superb, and we were both as nervous as each other, but we had a shared commonality. I could chat to you all day, Tracy. We've gone way past our 15 minutes. We're almost at the top of the hour. I've got one more question for you that I want to ask, but I've just thought of another question. What question haven't I asked you today?
Oh, I have no idea.
Well, think about it.
You're going to ask me what I wanted to be when I was a child, aren't you?
That's the next one. But I wonder if there's anything else that we haven't covered today that's burning and we need to get it out. I want to know. We can get the book from Amazon. Yep.
We can get the book from Amazon. Yep, that's fine. That's easy.
Or if you've got it on Kindle.
If you're in Borrowing Furnace, there's some in the office if somebody wants to pop by and get one. Not that anybody would want to travel to Barrow. It's a long way for anybody to get to. I don't know really. I think part of the book talks a lot about systems and processes. And if I've got one bit of advice to anybody about your processes, I think the most important one is your employee onboarding process. And it's got everything to do with fitting in a team, making the culture correct, making sure customer service is right. And we use a platform called Waybook, and the induction follows, like, they do a daily thing for like 2 weeks, and then it goes on to a weekly one. It doesn't finish till about 3 months, and it fits in. It like there's like paths for them to follow. So eventually they're getting to see quite a lot of the processes that are actually in the system anyway. And that is just, for me, that's the key. It's because having an onboarding process like that stops your team feeling they have to ask stupid questions, because everything's there and they don't feel. We've even got a glossary, by the way, because we work with an apprentice. Our business is built on apprentices. 2 of our directors were apprentices in the business. If anybody wants a chat about how that happens, and more, like, literally we build our business on apprentices. And like, because they're new, and some of our systems, we try not to speak jargon as much as we can to clients or anybody, but sometimes it's necessary. And so we have a glossary in our procedure manual that tells you all the accountancy terms so that they can just look it up. Nothing's a stupid question, but sometimes people feel like they are. So yeah, that's the biggest. Your employee onboarding process is massive.
Perfect. Thank you very much indeed. Right, before we go to the last question, I just want to let everybody know who I've got here next week. But before that, I just need to tell everybody about the Friendliest Social Media Marketing Summit for small businesses. I am actually running a real life workshop with Becky Craven in Exeter, where we will hold your hand and help you with your social media. And at the end of all of this, you will come away absolutely bouncing and want to do so much more on LinkedIn and Instagram. Next week, I have got the amazing James Marshall and Matt Young. They're coming in to talk about men's health. So that'll be a new show for us, and interesting. And I can't wait to have a chat to those 2 guys. So back to you, Tracy. What did you want to be when you were at primary school and you were running around with bunches in your hair? What did you want to be when you left school?
I never knew what I wanted to be till I was a teenager. And once I hit being a teenager, I actually wanted to be a dancer. And I went to college to be a dancer.
Nice.
But I just didn't have... I found alcohol and boys, to be totally honest, and just didn't have the focus enough to become successful in that industry. And then I came home and just I fell into accountancy. I got an office manager's role in electrical contractors, and they helped me. They put me through my education and my AAT, and the rest is history, really. So I'm definitely not quite sure if I'd have made it as successful as a dancer.
So Craig Revel Horwood's loss is our gain, Tracy. You've been absolutely delightful today. Thank you so much for coming on my show. And well done. Well done on your awesome book. And hopefully speak to you again very, very soon, Tracy. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheerio now. Bye-bye, everybody. And thank you very much for all your lovely questions. Cheerio.
You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose.